This case is just getting weirder and weirder. I'm talking about the murder of Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare. It feels like we're a part of a movie. We're learning new stuff every single day. And I think the turning point was when we found out who killed him. It was a man named Luigi Mangione. And I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this guy. And if you don't know what's going on, I encourage you to watch my video where I explain what happened. But basically, the CEO of one of the largest health insurance companies in the world was shot and killed in a targeted attack. I mean, this CEO was involved with some scandals like insider trading and all that kind of stuff. And the bullet casings that killed him had cryptic messages on it. So everyone is wondering, who is this guy? What was his reasoning? And we're going to figure all that out right now. The story begins in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Luigi Mangione was wearing a mask and he was spotted eating at a McDonald's. Employees recognized him from widely circulated images online that NYPD basically were having a manhunt for him. They were giving out $10,000 to $50,000 for anyone with information on this guy. And once the officers arrived, they questioned Luigi and they asked him for an ID. Luigi ended up giving them a fake ID. And then they asked him, "Hey, have you been to New York recently, where the murder happened?" And they said he visibly started to look very nervous. And then they started to search his bag. This is where things got interesting. In his bag, they found a handwritten manifesto criticizing the healthcare industry with the chilling phrase, "These parasites had it coming." They also found a 3D printed ghost gun equipped with a suppressor, and in the video where he shot and killed him, the gun had a suppressor on it. He had multiple fake IDs. He had $8,000 in cash and $2,000 in foreign currency. Now, something interesting is during his hearing, he said, "I don't know where that cash came from. I think it might have been planted or something." Just based off this information, people are saying he was set up or he wanted to get caught. They're saying he wanted to get caught because why would you be chilling in Pennsylvania at a McDonald's with a mask on, and the picture of you being wanted is in a mask, so it's going to look a little bit more recognizable? And why do you have a bag with all the same stuff that you used for the murder? And why would you also have a handwritten manifesto criticizing the healthcare industry when the guy was the CEO of one of the largest companies? So people are like, this guy was just waiting to get caught. He's wearing a mask because everyone's looking for this guy. They want the reward. So he's just sitting there and waiting. And then you start to wonder, who really is this guy? And when you look up his past, this was a very promising young man. He was a valedictorian at an elite private all boys school. He went on to earn a bachelor's and master's in computer science. His friends said he had a wealthy family and he had everything going for him. So you start to wonder what went wrong. But hold on, his parents weren't just wealthy. They own and operate several high profile country clubs and resorts, including the prestigious Greenview Country Club in Maryland and the exclusive Seaside Retreat Resort in Florida. These establishments cater to the elite, hosting lavish events and offering luxury amenities. Their affluent lifestyle placed Luigi in an environment of privilege from a young age, and he grew up surrounded by the elite, attending exclusive events and private gatherings. Wow. And I know we're all thinking the same thing. Why would you throw it all away? I mean, everyone would dream of a life like this. But then we start to look into some social media things, and it looks like he might have left us some cryptic messages. And we know this guy has been into some cryptic messages with his bullets and everything. But let's take a look at his X/Twitter. All right, so you know how on X you can have a banner at the top of your profile? Well, his had three different pictures, and people are saying each one had different messages. So the first one is a Pokemon. This is Breloom. I think that's how you pronounce it. And at first, this seems random. Why is this guy having a Pokemon on his banner next to two other pictures, which also look kind of random? But if you look at the Pokédex, the number of Breloom is 286. The number of this is 286. Now, the number of posts he left on his profile is exactly 286. You can go check it yourself. He has 286 tweets on his account. People are saying, take a look at Proverbs 28:6. It reads, "Better is a poor man who walks in his integrity than a rich man who is crooked in his ways." He's in jail for killing the CEO of United Healthcare, who was involved with a lot of scandals. A lot of people online are saying the number 286 appears in this case a lot more other than the things I just mentioned, but I haven't really been able to confirm those, so I'm not even going to mention them. Other than National Insurance Awareness Day is on June 28th, but I'm not going to read too much into that. But let's talk about the next picture on his banner. This appears to be an x-ray of the lower back with 4 massive screws in it, and everyone thinks that this is Luigi's lower back. And we know this because Luigi's ex-roommate hopped on the media and started to talk about him and his relationship with him, and he said that Luigi had such a bad lower back that sometimes he couldn't even get out of bed for over a week, and he said that it really affected his intimate life and his dating life, and you know how that is. And he said that it severely distressed him. So Luigi ends up getting a surgery. Now, after this surgery, his friends and family didn't really hear from him. They stopped talking to him. And then, as time goes by, in November of 2024, his mom reports him missing. And then a month later, this happens. Also, a clip just went viral on the internet of him being transported into the court, and he was trying to maybe shout out a message to the world. I mean, this guy has balls. Just watch this.
Down, down.
Oh my God! That's completely out of touch, and an insult to the intelligence of the American people and the lived experience.
I mean, the words were kind of clear. What I got was completely out of touch and an insult to the intelligence of the American people. I have no idea what he's talking about, and to be honest with you, I'm very interested to what this guy has to say because man, this, like I said in the beginning of the video, this feels like a movie. All these cryptic messages, and this guy is just a very passionate young man who basically had everything to lose. Just so you can get a better idea of him, I'm going to leave you with a clip of his basically ex-roommate talking about him and just how he acted, what kind of guy he was, and maybe the reason behind all of this. Check this out.
Looking forward to living in Hawaii and being healthy. He was excited about getting to meet new people, experiencing new culture.
And did he, all right, so I know this was back in 2000, around 2022, so you're coming out of COVID. I'm curious, RJ, did you know where he was working remotely or why he had suddenly decided to decamp to Honolulu? Was there sort of any break in his life or anything that you ever became aware of?
No. It's very natural. Our members all have remote jobs, and Hawaii is one of those places that many people would love to live. So we provide kind of an all-inclusive living experience, so it makes it easy for them to move to the islands.
Okay, so I know you considered him from your interactions with him, the time you spent together, as someone who would be a lifelong friend. What was he like when you knew him? And I know you've shared some pictures with us as well. I mean, in terms of how social he was and the sort of interactions that he would have had with the other people in your co-living community.
He was a very thoughtful person, communicated really well, was friendly, had good relationships with everyone. He was even, in some ways, a bit of a leader. He helped spearhead a book club that we started just so we could, keep those intellectual pursuits alive from back when we were in school.
So you mentioned that he was into health. How did that manifest himself? And you mentioned you went hiking together, things like that. Can you tell us more about that? Why he cared about health? And I understand also that at one point you did become aware of some issues with his back.
Yeah, so when I first interviewed him before he moved in, I remember he said he had a back issue and he was hoping to get stronger in Hawaii. So he's always focused on trying. When he first came, he went on a surf lesson with other members, and unfortunately, just a basic surf lesson, he was in bed for about a week. We had to get a different bed for him that was more firm, and I know it was really traumatic and difficult. When you're in your early 20s and you can't, do some basic things, it can be really, really difficult.
Did he have any conversations with you then or even afterwards about that issue? And I mean, his back, how he hurt it? I mean, obviously anything to do with the insurance process of it?
The only thing he ever mentioned, he mentioned, I need to go back to see my doctor and then I'm going to have surgery. I encouraged him and brought him to yoga classes. He would do calisthenics on his own. I know he was really focused on being strong and healthy, but it also weighed on him that he knew that there was an impending surgery.
So did you, in the context of all the books that you were reading and the book club that he was leading, did you have conversations about any of the issues that, you know, we now even see in the writings that he had on him when he was arrested? I mean, did he talk about, I mean, not even as maybe as specific as health insurance, but capitalism, anything of that nature?
You know, I apologize. I haven't read any of the media that's happened. I heard about it when a reporter called me. So I'm not familiar with what his writings were, but I know we talked about social issues and we talked about how to improve the world. And we talked about, you know, issues that are, you know, say with capitalism or with the healthcare system or with housing or the food systems. It wasn't, you know, anything specific. It wasn't like he had an axe to grind or he was even upset or angry about a particular issue. They were just natural intellectual conversations that you have when you're inquisitive.
So you stayed in touch with him. I know you spoke to him earlier this year, although I understand, RJ, that you tried to reach out to him multiple times even since then, but that he had not responded in those cases. Can you tell me about your last conversation with him?
Mostly just text messages. So I knew he was going to have a surgery. So earlier this year, I checked in with him. He confirmed that he had surgery and he sent me the x-rays. It looked heinous with just giant screws going into his spine. After that, he called me once. I didn't pick up. We kind of texted a little bit, but we, you know, unfortunately, I feel terrible now. I wish, you know, I would have made more of an effort to communicate with him.
Did you ever have any conversation with him where he brought up anything like guns or anything in that area?
Never once talked about guns, never once talked about violence. He was absolutely a not violent person, as far as I could tell. Yeah.
So RJ, in all of this, sorry, as you're just struggling to get your head around what happened here with someone, you know, that you had considered would be a lifelong friend. And I know you've only had a few hours to even try to comprehend it. But just in these initial hours, do you have any idea why or how someone that you knew in the way you knew him could have done this?
Personally, I can make zero sense of it. You know, there's never justification for violence. We live in a democratic system with processes and procedures to address, you know, our issues, and I can make no sense of it.
Well, RJ, I appreciate